3, 2, 1.
My name is Crispin, a Yimbono Mbii, and I'm from Ghana, West Africa.
What part of Ghana are you from?
So for Ghana, I'm from the upper east of Ghana, which is way up there. That's where I'm from. We are I think the second smallest region in Ghana, and we are one of the poorest regions in Ghana.
And what languages do you speak from where you're in Ghana, and then how many do they speak in all of Ghana?
Well, so for me, the languages I speak, the Ghanaian languages, I speak Frafra, I speak Chi, I can speak a little bit of Ga, and then my mom's local dialect, Dagate, so 4. And in Ghana as a whole, we speak over 65 languages.
And is English one of the main languages that everyone speaks?
Yes, thanks to colonization and modernization, English is now one of the most popular languages because of the educational systems we have now. Yeah.
So the government and education all use English to communicate?
Yes. In our schools, English is the most popular, but for the schools in the villages, they mix it up with the local language so that the students can understand.
So you learn English from the first time you start school?
Yes, I learned English from school, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your family and family life.
About my family, I'm the only son in my family. I have 2 little sisters. From my nuclear family in Ghana, that's the smaller family. It's just myself, my mom, and my 2 sisters. My mom and dad are divorced. And my extended family, I have my uncles and aunties and grandparents who are in the village. And I know now you're in Michigan Avenue, you get to know about my village, so that's where most of them are now.
Tell us about kind of daily life in Ghana. What's it like to go to work, how you live, like how people live in houses, what you guys do, like kind of just how daily life looks maybe different than here in America.
Yeah, so for daily life, it will depend on which class you are in, if it's the lower class or the upper class. So since I was from the lower class, I will speak from my side of things. So for the lower class, like my mom used to be a secretary and she used to own a shop. My dad was working in the city. So my mom wakes up in the morning around 4 or 5, makes sure she has food ready for us, and then sends us to school. Then she goes to work. And then for my dad, he wakes up and then straight to work, comes back late at night. Then we don't really have time for the kids and what have you. And for me as a kid, after school, I usually go help my mom, and then I help my little sister and cook, wash dishes, and then we move on to the next day. And it was kind of stressful sometimes because there was nothing really fun to do. Unlike here, when I came to the US, we have like the PlayStations and you have your friends you can go hang out with. You have so many other games you can do outside. It wasn't really accessible.
What about like showers, bathrooms, like just any like day, like the house that you lived in, what was that like?
Yeah, so for daily life,
Like how you
referencing
cook
it.
and stuff too.
Okay, how we cook too.
Yeah. All
So
of that.
for where we lived, I know you see from some of the pictures or videos you likely to come across, but to describe it to you, I lived in a clay house. It's and then they use some branches of a tree to support the structure in order to hold it together. We had no fan, we had no AC, we had no refrigerator. In order to get cold water, you have to store the well water, the river water in a clay pot to keep it cold for you to drink. And we had no light, and we slept on the floor on a mat daily, so it's just like a normal lifestyle for you. For food wise, we used to eat like once a day. If you are lucky, then twice a day. And what was the other question again?
Then how like how'd you take showers? How'd you like go to bed? Like all those kind of things.
Yeah, how we take showers. So we didn't really have a shower, especially as the kids. We just shower in the open. It's not more like a shower because we use a bucket. We put the water in the bucket, then you have a cup you fetch the water with and dump it on yourself, then you take a shower. We didn't have like shampoo or like soap and stuff, so we had this bar soap in Ghana. It has a Ghanaian name. It's foamy, but it's not the best soap you can ask for, but at the time that's what we had and that's what we used. And for water, like from the projects we're working on, thanks to Michigan Avenue and the wonderful people of Oklahoma, we used to drink from a river which is now contaminated and polluted, and we now drink from a well, which is also not the best clean water we have.
So no running water.
No running water, but thanks to Michigan Avenue and the wonderful people of Chickasha, we're gonna have running water, and I'm so excited to see what a blessing that will be to all of us.
Yeah. How about cooking, like making a meal? How would you do that? Because you didn't have a regular kitchen like we do here, right?
Yeah, so for cooking, of course, like we don't have a regular kitchen, so we use the firewood system. So we have like branches of a tree dried, we set it in, we take 3 blocks, set them up, and then we lit fire. And we didn't have matches or like a sparker. Like I said in my testimony, whenever I got to the US, they had a sparker, which was so cool to see.
A lighter. We call that a lighter.
Yeah, a lighter. Okay, a lighter. And so for us, we use like stones. Back in the days, you use 2 stones that you hit them together until you get a natural spark to spark your fire and light it up. Then we cook in a pot, and most of our foods are like you stir it up. So like that's what they used to do. And we didn't used to get meat. The only way we get meat is from fowls, for chicken. But like if you want meat, you have to go to the bush and hunt for an animal. Yeah.
Tell us about your school. What was it like going to school, like starting both schools, like elementary school all the way through high school, and how kids go to school, and just kind of break that down, how it works in Ghana.
Okay, so for school, our schooling system in Ghana is kind of different from here in the US. We have the nursery and primary. We have primary 1 to 6. Then we have the junior high from 1 to 3, and we have senior high 1 to 3. So for me, I went to a government school, and a government school is where the government pays your school fees, and then they supply you uniforms, and then you go to school. In our school system back then, we had no like structured classroom, and we had a blackboard with a white chalk our teacher uses to teach us, and we had our notebooks which the government provides, and we had no school bag, so we use the polythene bags, we call it, just like the Walmart bags. And whenever you get to junior high school, you write an examination called the BC, Basic Education Certificate Examination. Then after that, based on your grade, they post you to a senior high school. So I was posted in Laboni Senior High School, where I was a science major, and I studied about 11 subjects, and I was tested in 8 of them for my final exams. And then from there, you switch to college. Yeah.
What kind of inspired you to want to come to America?
So for what inspired me to come to America, I'll say the opportunity to leave Ghana and seek a better life for myself and my family, seek higher education for myself and for my family. And little did I know it was way more than that until I got here. Because aside me pursuing my education, I've met so many wonderful people and wonderful families. I've made so many wonderful connections. And as you can see from my shirt, OKC, I'm so into OKC Thunder basketball now, and OU and all the other wonderful things Oklahoma has to offer in the US as well.
How did you know that God was kind of calling you to this part of America? Because you could go on to several other places in America, but you ended up in what seems kind of a random place to be. So how did you know that he kind of was calling you to be here instead?
Yeah, so to be honest, I didn't know where God wanted me to be, because myself and my dad, we applied to schools in Singapore, we applied to schools in Canada, US, and some other countries. But whenever USO reached out to me, I received the email on a Sunday, which was strange because I was wondering who is sending emails on a Sunday. So I told my dad was like, okay, let's pray about it. We prayed about it. Then one thing that stood out from USO as compared to the other schools were like, they were very prompt with their response. So they were like, send me this, send me that, send me this document, send me that. And then I did that. And for some reason, I did receive other offers from other schools during my waiting time. But we just kept holding on to USL. And now I can say it was the will of God, because now that I've arrived there, it took me a couple of weeks or months. And another key thing that made me realize this is where God wanted me to be was the Willoughby family took me in, and they do run a church that's Michigan Avenue, which I know you are now. And from there, gradually, my eyes began to open, and my understanding as well, speaking to my dad and then the family as well, and some other people I've met here, just gave me this sense of like a feeling that like this is home.